Today's guest isn't just breaking barriers, she's rewriting the rules on what's possible after 50. Jen Hardy is an award-winning podcaster, author, content creator, and the powerhouse behind The Jen Hardy Show. She's grown a YouTube channel from 38 to over 100,000 subscribers in under a year, launched a global podcasting awards event for creators over 50, and helped countless others through her Launch Wave program. But what makes Jen so compelling isn't just her results, it's her refusal to play by outdated rules. In this episode, we talk about redefining success, staying tech savvy at any age, raising 7 kids while creating bold, boundary-pushing media, and why it's never too late to start. Get ready to laugh, learn, and rethink what it means to show up fully, no matter what your age. Good morning, Jen. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic as well. Thank you so much. Looking forward to our conversation here. We met just a little while ago, but we've hit it off since the beginning, so it's going to be a blast. It'll be a fun conversation.
I'm excited.
Yep. So lots to talk about, but I want to just dive right in here because there's lots of little angles that I want to pursue on this one. But society often associates like success with youth. However, you have kind of redefined this. So how would you redefine success now that, especially with your message and the idea that, people feel like it's too late to pursue their passions? I would love to get your take on this.
Oh my gosh, it is never too late to pursue your passions. So I have several friends that are well into their 80s that are doing some wild things. So one of my friends, Annie Corzin, she was on Seinfeld. She is now a TikTok phenomenon with like 500,000 followers on TikTok. I've got other friends that are writers. It doesn't matter. And I talked to my friends in their 80s and I said, when is old, right? What does old look like to you? Because when you're a kid, it's like 20, right? When you're 20, it's 40. And they said, basically, it's 20 years older than what you are. So wherever you are, that's, older than 20 years, that's where old is. So it just keeps moving, right? That target just keeps moving.
It's so true. It's so true. Now that I'm in my mid 40s, it's like, I give my mom and dad such a hard time when I was in college or whatever, that they were so old. And now that I'm that age, I'm like, it's not that old anymore, is it?
No, because no. And millennials are in midlife. How crazy is that?
Tell me about it. Yeah, no, life comes at you fast. Just this last weekend, we graduated my oldest son. So that's a trip. We're still kind of dealing with that, but super proud of him. But yeah, just thinking about the fact that felt like just yesterday he was in kindergarten and here he is, going off into the world. So you just never know, man. Just got to seize the moment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what in your learnings and all of your different endeavors and this kind of stuff, how would you define success now that we're never done, right? We're always learning, we're always growing, we're always doing different things, but how would your definition of success change, or how would you define that now compared to what it was, 10, 15 years ago?
Okay, success in general or success for myself? I think
success for yourself. Yeah, success for yourself. Exactly. Yep.
So success for myself. Okay. Well, last year I wanted my podcast to be in the top 1%, and I did not hit that. I hit the top 2.5, but I did get podcast of the year twice and broadcast of the year for my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel so I got so many more things that I didn't plan on. So I think my point is the target, it's another moving target, right? It moves. I think basically my basic foundational success is, do I have a good relationship with my children and my husband? And am I putting something out into the world that is beneficial? That's right. That is my foundational idea of success. Now, there's fluffery success, like getting my play button. I'm very excited. I hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That for me this year. So I don't know if you know the story or if the people watching know the story, but no. I have a podcast. I've had a podcast since 2018, and I do a lot of things in the podcasting world. And everyone said, put it up on YouTube. And I thought, I'm a 50-something-year-old woman. No one wants to see me on YouTube. I'm from Los Angeles originally. If you're over 40, you're done. And they're like, no, you got to do it. So I thought, all right, I'll take one interview and I'll put it up there. And if I'm doing that, I always wanted to do shower thoughts, like why do we drive on a parkway or park on a driveway,
Right.
but in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shower, fully clothed in a robe and a thing, but shower thoughts.
Right.
So I batched out 100 of those bad boys because they're short and
Uh-huh.
scheduled them 3 a day for a month, put my video up and left it.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, Andy, that in 3 weeks I was monetized on YouTube and I had 250,000 views my first month.
What?
And I thought, okay, I want
Okay.
to have 100,000 subscribers
Uh-huh.
next year on my birthday.
Okay.
Andy, my birthday is Thursday, and
Yeah.
I hit it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, look at you go.
So how
Congratulations.
crazy is that? So thank you. So
Fantastic.
um, yeah, I think that gets back to the age thing, though. You're
Mm-hmm.
not too old. Our population is aging,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot of people that want to see people that are older. And,
Right.
and if you want to have work done and you want to do whatever, there
Mm-hmm.
absolutely do that. But there are
Mm-hmm.
people that want to see your average everyday person,
Right. Right.
you know?
Yep. Yep. Very true.
So I think that's important.
Well, and that idea of the population is aging is, when so I'm mid 40s, you're probably right around 50 and that kind of stuff. So we're pretty close to the same age. So, but if we think 20, 30 years ago, thinking about, when we were just getting into the internet and the social media and all this kind of stuff, thinking about our parents being in that's like, oh my gosh, like they wouldn't get it, they wouldn't understand it. So that is somewhat of a foreign thought. But we've known that. That's been our life. We've known that, since we were in our early 20s and this kind of stuff. So this is very common to us. And so for us to continue doing that makes all the sense in the world. And there's a huge population, like you said, that is of that age, and they still want to hear their thoughts. I love the idea with the shower thoughts. I haven't watched too many of them, but that's such a brilliant idea because we all have those, right? Like, why is it that in my in the shower or like right when you wake up, why is it then that we have such wonderful ideas? So I think that's brilliant. I think you capitalized on that for
Oh,
sure.
thanks. Well, yeah, okay, and also I'm turning 57. I want to say
Okay.
30, but it's not true. 57 on Thursday. And
Okay.
we're the people, our parents couldn't even change the clock on the microwave or the
Right.
VCR,
Uh-huh.
because they were too old, right?
Right. Right.
To understand that tech. And I think, yeah, it's not an excuse anymore.
Right.
It's
No,
just not.
very true. Very true. All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for kind of diving in right there. I like to kind of start with a big question here. Now we can kind of back into the conversation and hear a little bit more about yourself and your journey. So Jen, tell us a little bit about what led you to this point where you now just got 100,000 subscribers. I know that you've had kind of a long, winding journey, as most people do, but tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh, my journey has been a crazy one. So,
Hmm.
so I have 7 children. A
Okay.
fun fact about them, they were born in 4 decades and they span 3 generations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is wild. And I have several health conditions, which is how I started podcasting,
Uh-huh.
because I was writing a blog about being a sick mom with
Hmm.
multiple children and multiple chronic diseases.
Right,
And
right.
then after the blogging, I started podcasting. I wrote a book about it. And
Hmm.
then I realized it's really depressing to talk about this all the time.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, but in 2018, I was given a year to live.
I did read that. Yeah. Wow.
So I moved my family to this island because I thought, if I'm gone, at least they'll be on an island, right? So they can
Hmm.
have islandy things to do and
Hmm.
take the edge off or whatever, but I'm still here.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and so this is good now. I get to enjoy it too. But I think, Andy, that is why I do things. I do them and I do them quickly and I get
Mhm.
them done
Right.
because I don't know how much time I've got.
Right.
And none of us know how much time you've got. But I think once you have an expiration date,
Right.
it really changes the way you look at the whole world,
Right.
right? And so I decided, I don't want to talk about being sick anymore. I've done a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things. They were helpful. Those episodes are still up on my same podcast. I just
Hmm.
changed the name, kept going.
Hmm.
And I looked around and thought, who is an underserved group of people? And it
Okay.
was women over 50. And
Okay.
so then
Interesting.
I changed to fabulous over 50. And so we
Hmm.
can celebrate the parts of aging that don't suck because
Hmm.
some of it does. Let's be
Right.
honest,
Right.
right? And we can complain and gripe about that, but it doesn't really do us any good.
Exactly. Very, very
So,
true. Very, very true. So, how did the experiences that you had in that perspective kind of change your, I don't know, change your thought process, your mentality? It sounds like I love this idea of not waiting on your dreams. I mean, that idea that just seize the day. You never know what's coming the next day. But I love the fact that you moved to this island to kind of capitalize that and whatever. So, trying to think of the best way to ask the question. Yeah, how about this? How has that impacted your kids, right? So you have seven kids. They've obviously seen you highs and lows and go through this whole thing. How has that impacted, your kids and how you've parented them, having gone through that and kind of, continuing to learn, continuing to grow and all this kind of stuff? How has that impacted them?
Well, it was hard for them, let's
I'm
be
sure.
honest.
Yeah.
I was very sick. I spent 6 different weeks in the hospital 1 year. I was in a wheelchair for a while.
Mhm.
In fact, till we moved here, I was using a walker and a cane. And it's funny because people see me now and I'm not. They don't have any idea why. I should be
Mhm.
strapped into a wheelchair based on what's happening with my body. And it's only getting worse in there. But I honestly think, okay, there's two sides to this. I
Okay.
truly believe that mindset has a lot to do with
Yep.
it.
Right.
But I also don't think it's fair to say if you just have the right mindset, you're going to be fine. Because if that was true, children wouldn't have illnesses. So, there's a lot of people that really want to be fine. So, but I think that no matter what, no matter whether, if you have a situation, whatever your situation, health or whatever, just you have to focus on the good and make goals. You have to make unrealistic goals
Right.
that seem that you can't do them. Everyone tells me I can't do the things that I'm going to do, and then I do them anyway, because it just feels so darn good. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I said I
No, it
was
is.
writing a book. I asked people to collaborate. I told them they had 2 days. I wrote it to publish in 2 weeks, and it was a bestseller for 31 days. Boom, because we just I was just determined.
I love it. I love it.
So.
So I have to find this picture here because I think you will absolutely love it, and I'm sure you have whether you've heard this before or not, but this idea of taking massive imperfect action. It seems like that might be a mantra for you.
That
Just
is a
like
mantra for me.
right, not overthinking it, not waiting too long, not waiting until things are just perfect or just right, but just jumping in, kind of figuring it out as you go. I mean, I've read lots of things about very highly successful people and they kind of build the ship as they go, right? I mean, it's one of those things like it's not perfect, but we're going to get started on this, we're going to get going on it, and that honestly separates the wildly successful people and then the ones that are just kind of getting by is that they don't wait for things to be perfect before they get started. So I will
Yeah.
definitely taking mental notes for myself because I'm sometimes paralyzed by what is it, analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis, where I overthink things and perfectionist and this kind of stuff. So kudos to you for just jumping right in and not waiting and just figuring it out as you go, and you've seen the incredible success because of that. So kudos to you.
Well, I got to say, I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Yeah.
And done is the new perfect. That is
There
my
you go. I
thing,
love that.
right? Because and this is another thing that we've started doing because there's so many people that say they want to do things, but they don't do them, and it honestly frustrates me. And so podcasting is one of my things, and so I've started well, we're launching the second week of June
Hmm.
called Epic Launch, and we are
Okay.
launching podcasts in 3 hours.
Oh,
So
wow.
you want a podcast? You come to me. We get it. We get your trailer recorded. We get you up on a host. We get your 6 months of episodes ready for you. And
Wow.
yeah, you just walk in because I want to help other people do the kind of things that I've been doing because people ask me all the time how I get it done. So now
Right.
we're going to help them do it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you also have on your website I want to get it right, the uncensored YouTube hack. So tell me a little bit about that, just with that same mentality, same mindset of like how you can help people get started and not bogged down in details, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I wrote the book. As I said, that's the book I wrote in 2 weeks. I called a
Hmm.
bunch of YouTubers and media company owners and I said, "Hey, will you contribute? We've got 2 days." And they
Hmm.
did. And we were a bestseller. But the great thing is I've got one person, and I got to put that video on my website. He's been a YouTuber for 10 years, and he said my book was the first time he's got his questions answered about YouTube. And so out of that, I did a boot camp that is now becoming a course because I just don't have every all day Saturday. And then, yeah. And then I do some consulting for YouTube channels as well.
Right, right. I love it. Which is honestly, so just kind of circling back around to, kind of how you and I kind of got connected. We're on this really cool app. Let me just throw this out here, a little shameless plug here, because I think that you would agree this is a pretty fun little aspect of thing. It's called Owl. And it's a networking app. Think of it, see what you think of my take on
I
this. I
love
called
it.
it LinkedIn. And if LinkedIn and speed dating had a baby, this is kind of what would have been created out of that. It's quick, it's 10-minute conversations. You're paying, dollars, but you're getting direct access to these people that would normally take weeks and months, bugging them on LinkedIn and trying to get in their inbox and this kind of stuff. But it's like-minded people
Yeah.
trying to network, trying to learn, and we got connected on that. And God love you for this. And I can tell from your heart and from our initial conversation, you are a giver, right? You are wanting to lead with
Yeah.
value. And from that very first conversation in 10 minutes, you had given me 3 or 4 things that I could do to improve my podcast. And we've taken those to heart, and I think it's really, really helped it all. So definitely check out Owl if you have not before. Jen's on there, I'm on there. There are hundreds of other people, maybe thousands.
You are frozen if you can see me.
Going with that. Just the idea of kind of how we met and how that, from our very first conversation, we had a lot of just synergy back and forth, and you had given some ideas on how to grow things. So anyways, from me to you, I really appreciate your willingness to kind of share some of those secrets and help people out trying to, just do good in the world, right? That's what we're all about.
Thanks. That's the goal, right? That's what everybody should be doing, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, we all help each other
Absolutely.
out.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So, tell me some fun things about the Fabulous Over 50. Like you said, that was something that you had the show ready to go, and then you decided, hey, let's pivot this a little bit. Let's talk about some more fun things, some more. I love the idea of like it's a kind of an underserved dynamic or demographic that just is not getting a lot of attention, that kind of stuff. So tell me some fun stories about that Fabulous Over 50 podcast and some fun things that you've been able to do with that.
So one of the things I did, actually, I spent a whole month interviewing men
Okay.
because women of a certain age feel
Mhm.
very self-conscious about our bodies and the
Mhm.
changes and all the things. And we feel like, how is a man going to want to be anywhere near this? And, it's a lot to take in for ourselves. And so I interviewed a bunch of different men to see what their perspectives were. And
Right, right, right.
as you probably know, they do not care. They are very happy with us the way they are. I mean, there are some men that, let's be honest, divorce their wives and marry younger people. That does happen. But by
Right.
and large, the people that I talked to were very happy with their wives and women of their age. And it was great.
Right.
And I think that was really good for women to hear. Women needed to
Mhm.
hear that. And then my other favorite thing is, you know, when we're going to enter puberty, people have the talk, right? They have the
Right.
talk with
Okay.
boys, they have the talk with girls, but
Mhm.
no one has the talk with women going into menopause.
Yeah.
And it is just as significant as puberty. It is terrifying and overwhelming, and nobody tells us what's coming. And so I had a doctor come on, well, maybe a nurse practitioner. I had a specialist come on,
Mhm.
and she spent 2 episodes telling us 36 different symptoms and all these
Oh,
things.
wow.
And as a man, you may not think it affects you, but it does if you like women. Because if you understand what the woman is going through, how much better can you relate, right?
Right.
And so I think that was really important. In fact, the home that I live in, the woman who lived here before me was put in a mental institution because they thought she was crazy, and it was menopause.
Uh-uh.
So that was part of what, yeah, got me
Wow.
to do that. When I heard that story, I thought, okay, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And then, and then I have interviews with people that I find inspiring and interesting, or somebody that may benefit the group as a whole. My
Mm-hmm.
podcast has taken a little bit of a second seat to the YouTube channel, which has
Mm-hmm.
been a bummer, but I have interns now. And so we're going to go back to doing it weekly, which is what it needs to be. But it
Wonderful.
has stayed top 2.5%, even through my not being very regular with it, which has been nice.
Well, congrats to
Yeah.
you. So, as someone that is, married, I don't want to admit that I'm in the middle of my life, but like if I don't want to live past 100, 90 to 100, like that's kind of, math is math, whether we like it or not. So I am in my midlife right here. So, you have said before that midlife women are some of the most powerful people on earth, and no one is listening. So, as someone that is in that space, my wife, I won't say that she's middle aged, but I mean, again, math is math, right? So, what can we as men do to start listening better and have better conversations? I genuinely would like to know this for me, but I'm sure my listeners could benefit from that as well.
Oh my gosh, that is such an incredible question. And can I be honest? No men ask that question. You know?
Kudos. I'm,
Um,
I'm I'm trying to get the brownie points, right?
right? So here is, especially if you've been married for a long time,
Hmm?
there's
21
all
years.
those little things, right? You've got these little trigger things that drive each other crazy, and
Right.
those hot button things. And if she is going through premenopause and then menopause, it's years of this stuff, right?
Hmm.
And she is going to be overly sensitive. And to just remember,
Hmm.
this is the woman you fell in love with. Why did you fall in love with her?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And she is genuinely feeling the things that she is sharing with you. She's
Right.
not making it up. She's not trying to be dramatic. She's feeling all the things.
Hmm.
And just to have compassion.
Hmm.
Look at her as the girl who was 19 or the woman who was
Hmm.
27, that woman, and think back then you would have bent over backwards to make her happy, right?
Right.
We kind
Right.
of lose that along the way.
Right.
We do. And the thing is that if the guy goes out of his way and makes her feel special and makes her feel loved, and most importantly, makes her feel heard,
Hmm.
she's going to want to make you feel good too
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? But if she doesn't, she's not going to want to make you feel good. I'll be honest.
Right.
And then she's going to be sassy with you.
Hmm.
And then you're going to think, why did I marry this woman? Right.
Right. Right.
And then another thing, I will keep it very G rated.
Hmm.
But guys, you get your thing. You know what that thing is. Let her get her thing. There
There you
we
go.
go. That's
There you
that.
go.
It's important
It
and
is.
nobody talks about it,
Right.
but that's how it is.
Right.
So, you know, and date her,
Hmm.
date your
Hmm.
wife, court her again. Um, because I think, I mean, my husband and I were married 16 years, and, you know, some days you choose to love each other. It is a choice. It is a choice. And
Hmm.
some days are harder than others to make that choice. Um, but then the week later, you fall in love all over again and you remember why you did it. So,
Right. Right.
um, you know,
Yeah. I love it.
do the
I appreciate
things
that.
that make you feel those good feels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and again, we don't need to get into this is all about Andy's, current stage of life, but I'm definitely taking mental notes again for kind of where I'm at, and especially the fact that our son, like I said, just graduated. So, I mean, there's that. We're kind of transitioning. We do have one younger son that's still here. So we still have another, couple years of being parents, but it's just a journey, man. Everything just continues to change and grow and whatever, and we're changing on top of everything. So, all of the feelings, right? I appreciate that. All the feelings are valid. All of them are true, and we just have to be along with that. So, I want to shift gears just a little bit because, again, you have so many cool avenues and different things like this that I want to try to touch on all of them just a little bit. And if it makes sense to have you come back, then I would love to have that as well. But you mentioned the YouTube show, the Jen Hardy show. That's a little bit different, right? We're not talking about, going through menopause and doing different things like this. That's kind of a different thing. So give your pitch on that and tell me how you got into doing the Jen Hardy show specifically with the kind of the format that you have now.
So, long story short, as I said, everyone said put my podcast up. So I did
Mhm.
put a judge up, did not know judges could be YouTube famous, and she was. So
Mm.
my new influx of people was all men. My
Mhm.
channel is 71% men, all
Okay.
equal ages across the board, which almost never
Interesting.
happens.
Right.
And they said, we don't like this fabulous over 50 name. We're dudes and we're, in the beginning they were younger. So
Hmm.
I thought, okay, well, I'll just change it to the Jen Hardy Show. I didn't think
Hmm.
it was going to take off,
Hmm.
and so I just named it what I named it. And people are like, "What did I don't know what I was thinking? I'm not famous." But then my podcast is called Voices of Justice, and so what
Okay.
happened was people liked that judge, and I thought, hey, maybe I've got something here. People watch live stream court on YouTube. That's a whole conversation for another day. It's like
Right.
this subset of YouTube people,
Oh my
and
goodness.
they take the court that's been live streamed and they cut it up and they send it out. I
Hmm.
don't do that.
Okay.
But what I do is I interview the judges, the lawyers, the elected officials, and some ex-convicts behind the scenes to give people a view of the justice system in a whole new way. I'm the only person who gets those judges, by the way, in the kind of interviews I do. Some of the other live streamers will bring them live, but as far as like actual like in-depth interviews,
Hmm.
um, and I do it wearing sequins and glitter because of my fabulous over 50.
Right.
Uh, and it's just how I do it. Now I did create a new set for Voices of Justice just in
Okay.
celebration of my thing. And I've got a huge guest coming on today. He's not going to get pink flamingos. He's going to get professional looking set in my studio. And I'm very excited about that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to stay tuned for that. That's congratulations to you. That's very, very good. Another kind of just fun little connection point here. After we met on Owl and we had talked and kind of had this set up on one of the Owl calls, you said if anybody knows some people in the legal space, where I'm had something happen with one of my guests. Anyway, so just kind of we talked about it afterward. It was kind of a funny thing that someone popped in my head and I introduced the two of you, and I think that was sounds like it was a really good conversation for you to kind of have and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool how God works things out, even though that was seemingly kind of just a random chance encounter right there. So kind of a fun deal.
Oh, I think that was meant to be. And it made me feel really good because I got to help her cause a little bit. She said we did more in that 1 hour than had happened in the last 4 months. And that was cool. And yeah, more power to her, man.
Yeah,
Because
right. Right.
it's really hard to do the right thing. It's really hard to do the right thing sometimes. And
Yes,
that's
it
what
is.
she's trying to do. And
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yes,
will
it is.
support people doing that.
I appreciate that. I know you will. So, Jen, it doesn't seem like it, but we are close to the end of our time, which is crazy. But we always have three questions that we like to ask guests, and this one I think is going to be super fun, knowing you as well as I do, and just kind of the conversation that we had thus far. So the last one will be the most fun, but they're all really, really good. So, who is a leader that you most admire and try to emulate? Who's somebody that you just look up to and try to emulate?
Okay, so in my younger times, there was a woman named Joe Ballard. She is not famous, but she is an amazing, amazing, strong woman. And yeah, J-O Ballard, Billard. She is, I am not sure if she is still on this earth. She
Hmm.
is she's just an angel. She was just
Hmm.
an angel. So changed my life.
Wonderful. Anybody else later on in life?
You know, I'm not going to lie. My husband has
Mm,
inspired me so
wonderful.
much. He is a genuinely good person who loves me in spite of knowing everything about me. And, there's something to be said for somebody that just all out loves you.
I love it.
And he's just a good person. So really, those are the two people that are top
Oh,
on my list.
he's got a gem in you, so I'm sure he's
Oh,
a lucky
thank you.
guy. All right, second question for you. What learning has most impacted you the last year? It seems like this would be a great time to ask this question just because the last year has been kind of a wild, crazy ride for you. What has impacted you the most in the last year? What learning has impacted you the most?
Surprisingly, it's not about business or YouTube, it's boundaries. I learned boundaries this
Okay.
last year,
Wow.
changed my world.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have them before. And it's a horrible way to live, really. So, yeah, boundaries are great.
Okay. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Okay. Very good. And the last question, this is the one that I'm very interested to hear specifically because um you've got the kids. I'm not sure if you have grandkids yet, but I mean, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, very good. So, the idea of thinking with your kids, with your grandkids, how would you empower learning for future generations? So, thinking about your kids, your great grandkids down the road, what are you doing today that we're going to help empower learning for future generations?
All right. So we've been homeschooling for this is our 26th year.
Okay.
And we've got like 6 years left to go. Take
Gotcha.
those screens out of those kids' hands. Take them
Okay.
out. Take them out. Give them a time limit. Absolutely. Give them because they need them. I mean, it's part of the future. They have to have them, but good night. Take them off. That's it right there. That is my thing. It's changing brains. I mean, there's been studies. There's been studies. Don't let them scroll TikTok all day long. It changes the way that they learn. They cannot focus, and they really need to do that if they're going to get an education.
Right.
So, and number two, board games. I'm telling you what, we play games. I work a lot and we play games every day. In fact, we're going to put on a cruise where we teach grandparents how to play Minecraft and we get kids into board games so they can reconnect.
Love it.
So, yeah.
I love it. That's pretty fun. We have, so my last name is Bennett. So we have BFG, so Bennett's Family Game Night. And we will do, I would say most often we kind of lead more towards the board game, card games, that kind of stuff. But my boys are young, so they like to do, Smash Bros or whatever, something like that. So we'll switch off back and forth between the
right.
Yeah, exactly like that. But it's time together. I can honestly say those are some of my absolute favorite memories with them, is just laughing and being silly and that kind of stuff. So I love it. It's really good.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with going back and forth, right? Yeah.
Right.
Do what they like, but also, get them off the screens and make them, Munchkin is a great game. Exploding Kittens. We just got Bears versus Babies. That's a crazy game. There's a lot of new ones that are just really fun.
Yeah, I love it. No, we'll have to exchange game ideas later on down the road, because I have a closet full of board games and card games and that kind of stuff. So awesome. Well, Jen, thank you so much. It's always one of those things. I know when I've got a really, really good guest on my hand that it feels like we just started and we're already wrapping up at this point because we had so many fun things to talk about. So, but thank you so much for your time. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Continue to put good things out in the world. What are, I guess, some parting thoughts here? How can people follow you? What are some good call to actions for people listening right now that can follow and help you out?
Just one thing, jenhardy.net. Okay. Everything is there.
That's easy enough. jenhardy.net. Find it, follow it, all the stuff. Yeah.
All the stuff is there. That's it. Make it easy.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
We'll talk Thanks, to you Andy. You too.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Jen reminds us that success is personal, growth has no expiration date, and digital influence isn't reserved for the young, it's reserved for the brave. If this episode lit a fire in you, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to own their next chapter. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep showing up for the life that's still waiting to be built.